From the web-based interface of Calumo, a user has access to different cubes and analysis services depending on permissions granted. In this instance, the user has access to localhost and the databases on localhost. I will open the AdventureWorks Data Warehouse database, and I will access the Finance cube and prepare a quick profit and loss. I get access to the different dimensions in the cube, and I will drag my account dimension as rows. I want to see my scenario dimension as columns, and I want to be able to slice on different departments in my organization. I now have a quick view of my data, and I'll just expand and look at my chart of accounts. I may want to look at more than just actual data, so I'll double click on scenario, and I will select all the different scenarios, actual budget forecast and my budget variance and budget variance percent. Select them all. Say OK and update the report. I now have access to see the data that I just chose from the scenario dimension. I also want to be able to actually slice my data on time, so I will select my calendar as a slicer as well. I have access to all periods, or I can subset the data to calendar year 2002. So now I can actually slice my data on my departments in my organization and on the time in the calendar defined. This report is the report that I actually want to publish to my management on a frequent basis. But I also want it to look nicer, so I want to be able to format it. What I do is I slice it off to Excel by clicking on this icon, and the data is now sliced off to Excel. As you can see, my net income from the profit and loss is the row. I have identified that the data source is the server, the local host. My database is AdventureWorks. The cube is Finance. The calendar is set to calendar year 2002, and the department is Corporate, which is the total. I can still double click on net income and navigate in my data. I can double click on operating profit, gross margin, and it seems like the order of the dimension in this cube from Microsoft is not exactly the way a finance user wants to see it, so we will just use Excel functionality and move the data around. It's very simple, and it's just standard functionality of Excel. I will format the data a little bit. Standard Excel functionality. And as forecast has no data, I actually don't want to look at it. I also want to format my budget variance, so it's percentages. Again, standard Excel functionality. And I also want to format my data, that are numbers, with dollar signs in front of them. I will format these as well, again standard functionality of Excel. I wrap the text. And I will align the text to show right, and I will expand this column a little bit. And I am pretty happy with this result now. It looks like a good report for my management to look at. I'll hide this information because my management do not really care about the databases of analysis services. So what I can do now is I can go into the Calumo add-in of Excel. I will rename my sheet to Profit and Loss. I will save the report. And now from the Calumo add-in, I will publish this report. So what happens now is that the Calumo add-in creates a thin version of this report. It has the exact same look and feel as the Excel spreadsheet, the same formatting. I have now still the ability to navigate my data, refresh it. I can select another department and refresh it. So from within Excel I can create a very nicely formatted report. I can publish that back to Calumo's website, and I'll show you that right now. So back in the Calumo portal I will open Documents. Let's refresh my browser first. I will open Documents, and here's my profit and loss that we just created from Excel. I have decided to also add a small little graph to my report, so my management can see some graphs as well. So I will insert a very quick graph column. Very simple, like this. I'll make that say okay to this. This is exactly what I want. Put it in here. There we go. And I will save the report back, go back to Calumo's add-in, and publish it. Do you want to override? Yes, I will. And as you can see, the Excel graph comes into my thin client version exactly as we just created in Excel. Again, still a live report. The graph changes according to my selection in my different slices. So in this instance, I actually want to have my users to start with that page, so when they open Calumo, I want them to see that profit and loss report. So I go into Administration, into Start Pages. I am the Calumo user, and I want to actually find that profit and loss report we just created, set that as my start page, and let's refresh the portal. And instantly the different users have this report that we just created in less than 5 minutes as the start page of their web-based portal. I will show you some other examples of dashboards and reports that have been created from within Excel and published back to the Calumo portal. Company dashboards, highly graphical with, again, slices. So actually exactly the same data that we just looked at, but in different format. Another example is city cycles. Again, very highly graphical, formatted with Calumo Sparks, which is cell-based graphs embedded into the report, some KPIs. But let me also show you a very nicely formatted balance sheet, high fidelity financial reporting that CFO-like people want to see. All of this is created from Excel and published back to the Calumo portal. This functionality is available using Office 2003, 2007 and 2010.